All right, real brief statement. We're excited that it's opening day of practice.
Well done. All right, there you go. Bob, start us off.
Sorry, head down mute. Can you hear me okay?
We got you, Bob.
Okay, cool. Hey, I know it's been a really weird spring and summer, but you have been able to get in quite a few workouts. What's your take on this team through the workouts? How have they meshed with so many different guys? And what's your anticipation here with practice, to kind of taking that next step?
I think, Bob, we are evolving. We are growing on both sides of the ball. Not sure what we will look like from week to week or day to day. We constantly trying to mix and match lineups. I feel like a hockey coach at times, trying to look at different line play. I think the biggest thing with us is really like just daily improvement. Trying to get better each day. Obviously, today's the first day, but we were in that 4-hour segment per week, and then it went to 8 hours. So I do like that there's been some gradual buildup for your 20-hour, now in season practice. In the past, it's been jumped from 4 hours to 20, and that's always an adjustment for coaches, players. And I do like that we went from 4 to 8 now to 20. So we're, looking forward to, having 2-hour practices right now, and it's going to be a grind for the next 3 weeks. We are in training camp mode for 3 weeks right now, and guys better be ready to practice.
Is JD, is he all 100% now, or how's he, and what are your anticipations?
JD Note looked better than 100% yesterday. He dropped 5 out of 6 from 3 in live play, and he looked good, Bob.
I just got one more, and if it rotates around. How competitive have these workouts been? How competitive do you anticipate practice being with, more depth? And obviously all these guys want to play.
Yeah, so practices are, the way that we structure our practices are different than maybe last year. Last year we did not do a lot of live stuff. I know that we're, live streaming today, and I don't know how much we'll do live today, but the contact and us not just doing station work, there's a lot more live activity. There's a lot more competition because of the number of bodies we have this year. So I would say there's and plus we're still trying to figure out so many different things, like what is the exact style of play that fits this team offensively? What style of play are we going to be able to do schematically, defensively? What's our special teams look like, meaning after free throws, both defensively, and if the opposition is shooting a foul shot, what type of offense are we going to come out of a free throw situation? So I think all that stuff we're really trying to figure out. And then obviously, trying to figure out rotations and who's a go-to player late game. And, a lot of that stuff's going to evolve in the non-conference play as well. But we're, with so many new faces, we're searching, and we're a work in progress for sure.
All right, thanks. We'll go to Nate Allen next. Thanks. Nate, you're muted. There you go.
Where do you see Justin Smith and Jalen Tate kind of figuring in rotation and what their roles are going to be?
Yeah, I think as far as rotations right now, Nate, it's just way too early. We switch up our first unit almost every day. I will say that probably the most, consistent player since the first day we've been together has been Justin Smith. He allows us to play, kind of a big lineup when he's at the 3. He allows us to play a little bit of the small ball when he's at the 4. And then Tate's, Jalen's really important as well, because at his size, when he's at the point guard, we're a much better defensive rebounding team. He's an unselfish player who's always thinking, how do I get my teammates involved? So I think from a consistency standpoint, which is what you would expect out of 2 grad transfers, those 2 players in particular have been as consistent as anybody, on our team.
Thanks.
All right. Hutch, what you got?
Yeah, Eric, kind of a 2-parter. One, last year you had said rebounding kind of before the season, rebounding kind of kept you up at night, wondering how that was going to go. Do you feel like you've addressed that area this offseason? And then is there anything other area that maybe is keeping you up at night going into this year?
Yeah, so I think for sure the rebounding, there were, a lot of nights that you're not going to really sleep well when you're in the 300s of any category. And last year for us, it was the rebounding. We're definitely a better rebounding team this year. I mentioned Tate being a good rebounder, although Jimmy Witt, he held his end of the bargain last year rebounding. I think Smith can really rebound at the 3 spot. Obviously Connor, with his size, gives us rebounding at that 5 spot. Jalen Williams has done a good job rebounding the basketball. Moses Moody at his position is a good rebounder. So I think from a roster standpoint, when you look at 1 through 5, we are a better rebounding team than last year, which certainly, we need to be. And then Devo Davis, the one thing that he's really done a good job of is getting loose balls and long rebounds and stuff like that. That's one area that he has done a good job for our team as well so far, and in the off-season workouts.
And was there anything this season going into the year that is kind of keeping you up at night, is how you're going to figure that out?
I thought you'd forget that question, Andrew. I think, look, when I got the job, I knew that Isaiah Joe was going to be a star for us, and that he was going to be one of our go-to players. I did not know that Mason was going to make the leap in his, from a player development standpoint. But, going in, obviously, you watch us play last year, even the opening game, we knew that Mason and Isaiah had that, star quality of getting the shots when we needed them. They were our go-to players. Our opponents knew it. All of you in the media knew who we were going to go to and who those guys were for us. We're still trying to figure that out. I think we have more balance, but who steps up and when my plays break down and they're terrible play diagrams, which there's a lot of those, and then it comes down to who can go break people off the bounce. And the players that make coaches look good are the guys that can do stuff on their own. And certainly Mason did that as well as anybody in the country. And so we're trying to figure out who is that guy when we try to put something down on paper and it doesn't work, who can go make miraculous plays when we need them. And we're going to miss that, certainly for Mason, and then Isaiah, taking 2 steps across half court and having the ability to knock down a 3-ball or having that threat. Those are things that are, just kind of evolving for us.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Curtis?
Hey, Coach, I wanted to ask you about the freshmen. Obviously, you spent a ton of time recruiting them, watching them in high school over the summers. Well, now you've had them for about 12 weeks and been able to coach them up and see them against some more veteran, experienced guys. What do you think about their performance so far?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, because obviously, I love to read, and, I think with NBA rookies, NFL rookies, Major League Baseball, younger players that go through the minor leagues, college players that are freshmen, like there's always going to be ups and downs. Certainly our system, the way that we implement things is I would say drastically different than a lot of colleges because we add things so quickly and we have so many sets. Our defensive schemes are a little bit more complicated maybe at times than a normal college. Certainly our baseline out of bounds package. We have 6 free throw attacks in already. So I think that there's going to be a learning curve, for younger players, but I do think that each of them brings something different to the table. Jalen Williams has done a really good job of being easy to play with. He's not a ball stopper. He's a ball mover. He can make open threes. He's rebounded his position well. Moses Moody's a guy that can really knock down open shots. He's got good size. He's been good around the rim. He's done a really, really good job of finishing off offensive rebounds. Devo Davis, I mentioned the loose balls and getting loose change for his position. He's still got it. He has the ability to play a couple different positions. So I think, getting a better grasp of our schemes is going to be important for Devo. And then KK's done a really, really solid job with his, he comes in and gives us some speed. But I think with all 4 freshmen, we want to continue to work with them on being consistent from day to day.
We'll go to Jason Carroll.
Hey, Coach, I wonder what the challenge you've had trying to put together this updated schedule and kind of where you are in that process, what you had to give up, and just all the challenges that kind of went into where you're going to be when the schedule comes out.
Yeah, that's a great question, Jason. For myself, one of the big things is I have a full head of hair, and the guy that does our scheduling, Anthony Ruda, is close to being bald. Well, now he's got no hair basically because he had the schedule done. He was all proud of what we had put together. And then obviously, with the COVID stuff, he's had to twist and turn, change. And it's quite frankly, it's been a nightmare for him. I've slept like a baby because I put, all the pressure on him. And I can't really tell you, Jason. It really hadn't affected me, but Coach Ruda, like I said, he's probably had a lot of sleepless nights.
When you guys were putting that together, because I know you're part of the discussion, kind of what were you trying to get done? I know there's restrictions budget-wise and everything. I asked Coach Neighbors this earlier, what are you looking to get done when you're having to redo a schedule like that to prepare you for conference and then hopefully postseason play?
Well, I think first of all, this, obviously, all of us are in a, we don't know what to expect in this world, whether we're coaching basketball or you're writing an article or doing an interview or doing a pod. Everything's changed with how we do everything. One thing that I do know, I want to try to play as many games as we possibly can for the student athletes. These guys work hard. I'm like players, man. I'd much rather compete in a game than go to practice. I think a lot of coaches say they love practice. Well, I love games. So to me, trying to get the maximum number of games in, 27 games, is, especially with all the new faces we have. I don't know how you're going to judge strength of schedule if people have different number of games played. So we've tried to come up with a geographical plan that will help from a scheduling standpoint. And quite frankly, we want to try to keep our guys in our own space, so to speak. So that we can play as many games as possible. So maybe that limits our travel non-conference. And had great discussions with Hunter and, about some of our scheduling and Clayton. And we'll just keep discussing until we get this thing finalized. Because if it was finalized, we'd love to tell you guys exactly what it is, but it's not finalized. I can promise you that.
Go ahead, Kevin McPherson.
Hey, Muss. In 18 months on the job, you brought in 8 transfers. 2 of them played last year, but this will be the first year at Arkansas where you'll have the guys that sat out combined with your grad transfers that are immediately eligible. When you envision putting the roster together with so many transfers, how so far through 12 weeks of practice, is it coming together like you envisioned when you brought those guys in? Maybe what's different? Kind of elaborate on the transfer part that makes up the majority of your roster right now.
Well, thank you. Number one, Kevin, thank goodness for the transfers, because if you want to talk about, 18 months ago, we would have thought that Isaiah and Mason would still be part of our program. Both those guys, coming off averaging right around 13 points a game, prior to getting the job. And so, we thought maybe one of them, maybe would play their way into draft conversations. But I don't think any of us on this call, could have envisioned, 18 months ago or whatever, that, we would have both those guys would be in the draft. And I'm really glad that we went out and got 3 grad transfers with experience, because Isaiah, with the timing of everything, we were not able to fill that roster spot. And that's, when you lose arguably the best returning player in the league, and can't replace that particular roster spot, it's problematic. So really glad that JD Note and Connor Vanover were a year into understanding our system and understanding our terminology. That was really, really important for us, because those guys understand our pace of practice. They understand our the way that we want to play and the competitive nature that we attack every day with. And then certainly, to have 3 guys that have been part of college basketball to help the younger guys, I think are really, really important. And Desi's done a great job of trying to self-coach his teammates.
As we're getting kind of winding down, kind of doing some rapid fires. Jordan, want to lead us off?
Sure. Hey, Coach, how is the team gelling so far through workouts? And is there anyone you're looking at that's emerged as a leader, or someone you want to see emerge as a leader during practices?
Yeah, I think, first of all, Jordan, we kind of want everybody to lead in their own way. Like, for instance, Justin Smith's not, he's not a real overly verbal leader, but he's been leading by example every day. Desi's a guy that takes on leadership verbally. He takes on leadership by trying to point to other teammates where they need to go in some of our, sets that we're, because we continue to add stuff, and some guys are picking it up quick. Other guys are struggling a little bit. And Desi's a guy, and even a walk-on like a Mecca, he's really helped us from a leadership standpoint of trying to tell guys where to be in our drills and breakdown situations. So we hope that everybody leads. We haven't, done anything with captains or anything like that. Connor Vanover was not a real talkative guy. The first few months we were with him, and he continues to be more of a talker in practice and lead verbally. So was there a second part of that question?
How's the team gelling so far, like especially with all the new faces?
Yeah, I think someday, like yesterday, we looked really good. Like the ball was popping, the ball had eyes, the ball had energy. And then other days, you would need a football helmet to watch practice, because you never know where the ball is going to go, and we're turning the thing over, and our spacing's bad. And, so I think that it depends on, when you see us. My wife's going through like ups and downs every time we have dinner, because some nights I'm coming home and thinking, wow, we're doing really well. Practice is going smooth. And then, a few days ago, I mean, I don't know what she was thinking, other than she didn't want to eat dinner with me because I was in such a bad mood with, we were clanking shots, and I worried about, do we have enough 3-point shooting? And, we put, 2 minutes on the clock and the score 77-77. And then I look up after the 2 minutes and it's still 77-77 in our late game situation. So that's a struggle that we're trying to work through as well.
Maybe one more. Ty, you guys got a quick question?
Yeah, Eric, since arriving on campus, not only have you celebrated your own team's success, but you've also reached out to other programs while playing not. I know you've been locked in basketball to this point, but just kind of your thoughts on what Sam Pittman has done with the football program through 3 games.
I mean, awesome. Like my wife said it best. Danielle said, like, I don't know last year if she sat through a full game watching it on TV. Like, we have not missed 1 second, of their 2 games on the road and the home game we were at. Cannot wait for Saturday's game. We will be there, ready for to watch how competitive they are. I first half of the home game against Georgia, I sat upstairs in a suite, and then second half I went down in that second or third row, whatever it was, right behind their bench. And I'm not a football coach. I don't know football X and O's, but I do know when a team has incredible leadership, and I do know reading body language of players and the mini huddles they had going on during the game. The way that the players through the entire game, you could tell by their body language that they were competing till the end. Just really impressed with how quickly, the players have bought into his system and his culture.
Okay, thanks, Coach. Just a reminder, we will continue live streaming